Our Wednesday morning Rise and Shine practice. If you are new to this practice, you want to take a moment and look into the description box below this video, and you're going to find a link to the worksheet that we are working through. This is a workbook that we're using. You can purchase them on Amazon if you like, but you can also just download the worksheet and print that out so that you could join us today. In this class, this is both a Christ-based class, that's my tradition that I stand on, and also a spiritual neutral class. We make space for both because ultimately our nervous system is what allows us to hear the connection to our divine. And in this class, you're learning how to slow down experience and pay attention to how your nervous system comes alive in relationship with both the challenges that you are facing in your life and also in relationship with your divine guidance. So when you hear me speaking about Jesus, Christ, the Holy Spirit, or God, that is my semantic. That is the God that I serve and the God that serves me and who I relate to and the language I use. But I also make space for you to insert the language that you use in the way that God communicates to your heart. So we begin our time together in the same way that we begin all of our moments of conscious awareness, and that is to first pause and notice how we are supported by the place that we are seated. So take a moment and turn your attention inward and notice how is your body held by the place where you are seated. And as your brain is able to recognize how your body is held by the surfaces where you are seated, you want to take a moment to notice which part of your body feels the most held, the most supported, or the most down in your seat. And as you are recognizing that body part, you want to write that down into your journal. And in today's practice, we are strength training a radically slow pace. We have another 50 minutes left of class, and we want to be able to slow down each of the experiences as they are, as we are becoming aware of them, so that they may be more fully received and digested by our body. So we want to look again at how our brain is held by the place where we are seated, and we're letting the brain see in slow motion, here is where I am already held, right where I am seated. In slow motion, here is where I am already held, right where I am seated. And as you are being held by that surface, see if you can feel, what does that quality of support feel like? You want to write down that word or experience of support that you feel, and then you want to be able to see if you can draw that onto your body diagram. And we're taking a moment to look at that and then feel it. And then we're switching into slow motion. We're saying this quality of support belongs to me. See what you have drawn onto your worksheet and feel the aliveness of that in your body. And then from that place of receiving that support, we want to take a moment and notice, what challenge are you facing into today? And as you're noticing that challenge, notice how that comes alive in your body. Where do you feel that happen in your system? And then we're taking a look at that. We want to switch that into slow motion. We're saying, this is the challenge I'm facing into today. And then we're allowing the two to come together in our experience, in our body. So I'm noticing again, how does the way that I'm supported by the place where I'm seated, how does that change? And then you want to take a moment to notice, how does your mind see yourself as you are facing into this challenge? What do you see yourself doing? And how do you find yourself speaking about this challenge? And what is my impulse to behave as I face into this challenge? And notice the emotions and the sensations that are evoked when you experience this challenge. And how does your breathing respond to this challenge? And in the past, when you have faced into a similar challenge like this, what was the outcome? And then in this present, as this challenge is present for you today, what does it make you think is going to happen in the future because you're dealing with this? So this gives us a really good organized training wheel, relational training wheel, so we can then be speaking directly to the God of our understanding. And so now we're going back through and we're going to be reading this to God. I'm saying, Jesus, I see myself doing blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Maybe not. So we're reading back through. This is the challenge I'm facing today. And here's how I see myself in that challenge. Here's how I'm speaking about that challenge. This is my impulse to behave. These are the emotions and the sensations that come up as I'm facing into this. This is how it impacts my breathing. In the past, when I've done this, this is what the outcome was. And this is what I'm afraid of in the future happening because this is present here today. So I'm wanting to communicate that to God and be experiencing what is it that God is telling me back? What is the impression that I see? You may experience an image, you may experience a word, a sensation, you may hear God speaking to you. We are meant to be in relationship with God in this very intimate way. If you look in Genesis 1, God built our world for us to be living in this profound intimacy. And Jesus came back to bridge us back to God because it's so easy for us to be looking everywhere but God. When we're slowing this down, you're learning how do you experience that connection? And that's going to be specific to you. The more that you practice that, the deeper, broader, and more vivid that becomes. But in the beginning, it's just like being able to feel a sense of even holding the honesty of the experience that you're having, even being able to be honest and taking accountability for the fact that this is in your life. This is yours. Our whole world is built on this psychology of, well, my parents did this, and so now I do this. And if you look at your age and you look at how many years past 18 years old you are, think about, when did you take accountability for your actions and your behaviors? This is what we're being invited to do, is to say, this is how I have lived my life. God, please, I'm open to you showing me how to do this in another way. I'm open to you showing me and leading me through this in another way. And so if you look at how many years past 18 you are, I am 30 some years, something like that. I'm 49, so maybe 29 years past 30. So for 29 years, I have chosen to live my life in this way. I have engaged with this experience in this way. That was my choice. And I'm fully bringing myself home to you, God, spiritual neutral people, name as speaks to your heart. Christ-based people, you're speaking to Jesus because you're saying, this is how I've done it. Show me how do I do it in Christ? How do I do this if I'm coming from a place of fully being supported? But for the last so-and-so years, this is how I've done it. Notice the difference in accountability and also in alignment when we're saying, this is how many years I've chosen to do it this way. How many years past 18 are you? This is ridiculous. I have to use my phone to add it up. 31. Notice your number. What happens in your experience, guys? I'm going to unmute the mics. When you feel that, when you look at that number, how does that change your experience?
It makes it a lot more personal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like I'm called to the front row.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives me an opportunity to hold myself accountable,
Right.
and hold all of it, as opposed to trying to roll it off to the past of what someone did, or the distant past, or the not so distant past.
Right. To me, I feel like it also, like, it puts all the eggs in my basket. Like,
Yeah.
it's in some ways a horrifying news because it's like, oh, this has been the outcome of my choices. And also then it's very good news, because it's like, and moving forward, it also is, am I choosing to receive the support and the gifts to integrate this? This is how I have chosen to identify with myself. When I look at the years, it's motivating, because it's like, I don't want to do that for another 31 years like that. I don't want to continue like that. I want to continue very specifically on this path. And what he's saying is, call yourself home. Call yourself home fully. How about the other participant? What does it feel like for you when you're naming the years?
For me, I can see myself in it clearer as a separate entity than my family.
Yeah. And with that clarity, what happens in your body? How does your body respond to that?
I sit up straighter. I just feel a stronger connection to the support and the gift.
Mm-hmm. So we're really being invited to notice this, because whether our ancestors are still with us, whether they have passed over, crossed over, passed away, we are the ones who are in the position of, how am I choosing to relate to every circumstance I'm facing? Am I choosing to do that through my own power, or am I choosing to do that through the divine? And so that's what's mine to choose. That's what is for me. And I can choose to be mildly supported, slightly supported, or radically supported, fortified, directed, cared for, purposed. We get to choose the volume or the intensity in which we're going to walk with the divine through this challenge. So now when we're looking at this and we're saying, okay, here's my challenge, go back to your challenge, and you're saying, this is my challenge, and this is how I have done this for this many years. And in your own system, you're making a conscious choice. How fully do I want to walk with the divine support through this challenge? How fully do I want to do that and change my pattern that I have been operating from for how many years? Today it can change. And from that place, I'm holding my brain and I'm saying, here's how I have seen it. I am speaking to Jesus. For spiritual neutral participants, name your connection in the way that awakens your heart. And we're saying, this is how I have seen this. And I'm having that conversation, the first sentence, the mind, how my mind sees this. And you want to write down your response. Make sure that you're writing your name. The other thing that I haven't really shared, but I'll just say it now. When we're asking, like when we're first going through, I'm in conversation. So I'm saying, for my connection to God, I'm saying, Jesus, this is what I've done. When I get the response, I'm holding it and saying my name, Adrian. This is the response that I get from the divine. So the first line is, who am I talking to? Am I in conversation with the God that carries me? Am I naming that God? That God knows my name. What am I naming that God? The God that God, I say the God. What am I naming God? Am I in conversation with God in that way? Here's where we begin to practice that conversation in our journals, in our workbooks. So what is your response that you hear? And then I'm holding how I've spoken, how I speak about it. I'm saying, Jesus, this is how I've been talking about it. And notice your response. And then, Jesus, my impulse to behave is I keep doing whatever it is that we're doing, whatever shenanigans we do. This is what I keep doing. You want to write down your response. Then we're saying, Jesus, these are the sensations and the emotions that come up as I'm facing into this challenge. Show me how to make room for those and welcome those through your support, your peace. How do I make room for the aliveness of these emotions? Then you're noticing, how does your breathing respond to this challenge? I'm saying, Jesus, here's where I hold my breath, or here's where I start getting anxious. And in the past, for the past however many years, you want to state your years, for the past so and so years, this is how I keep coming up to this edge, and this is where that takes me. Notice what is revealed to you as you hold that experience. And then we're saying, here is what I think is going to happen in the future, Jesus. And so we're saying, okay, what is it that you want me to do to respond to this challenge today? This is where we get our index cards and we're filling out what it is that we are doing for the day. And so you're adding into that whatever else you're led to do. So turning your heart, your mind, your life to the heart of Christ. And we're saying, show me how to do this very specifically. How do I respond in a new way? Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. My thing keeps trying to switch to my microphones. So notice your invitation for today. And you want to be thinking about, you're seeing yourself doing that in radical slow motion. The slower that we go, the more we are able to receive what the divine is providing us for that circumstance. For those of you that are part of the additional classes that we do, today we have 2 classes. We have our massage concepts class at 10:45 to 11:45. If you are not able to be there live, they will be added to the replays in the app. And we also have our 12 o'clock participate class today. We're working with judgment and eye mobility in that class. And this weekend we have a retreat. And in the retreat, what we're going to be talking about is and the retreat is from 10 to 2. It's going to be done at our homes online. If you can't make that, it will be recorded. And in this retreat this weekend, what we're talking about is, how do you move through the radical intensity of taking new action? So last month we were really looking at, I go into these certain personality modes, rescuer, victim, persecutor mode, and we're invited to come back into the center and be held. But then from that place of being held, we're invited to walk in the world in a very new way. And there is a threshold that we go through when we are beginning to walk in the new way that is very destabilizing. It's supposed to be destabilizing because I'm doing something completely new. So my body is going to be moving through that threshold. This weekend, what we're going to be talking about and experiencing is, how do you prepare your body? How do the practices set you up for that? And how do you move into that destabilizing experience and then into the new action with the most peace and grace and rest that you possibly can? So we're going to be talking about that this weekend, and then we will be preparing for our last retreat, which will be December, which we will be reviewing our timelines. And so if any of you guys have recently joined us and want to join us this weekend, you certainly can. You can purchase the link. I'm going to be sending out an email later today that has the links to all the classes for this weekend and all of that stuff. So I thank you guys for being here this morning. It's my honor to be here with you. And just take a moment to even notice what you're being invited to do and think about, what happens if I do that in radical slow motion? How does that change how you feel as you're facing into what your challenge is for today? Just taking a moment to notice that. All right. Thank you all for being here this morning. I look forward to seeing you when it suits your schedule next. I hope you all have a great one. Take care.